What is up guys, it's your boy Solheim here, back with another World of Warcraft video for the War Within, and today is an absolutely huge day for goldmaking and the goldmakers in the War Within, one of the biggest days that we have had since the launch of the expansion if you ask me, and it's really good. We have some news today, and throughout this video I'll be talking about those news, what those means, and also give you guys some tips and tricks that you can use to make even more gold from this news as well. So you first of all, you learn about the news, and I give you some tips and tricks towards the later half of the video that will help you make even more gold. Before that though, we do have to thank today's sponsor, which is Raid Shadow. No, they are not going to sponsor my channel, or at least not this video, but today's sponsor is my gold making guide for the War Within, which if you haven't checked out yet, it's going to be linked down below in the pinned comment. And if you want to make more gold in the War Within than you're currently doing, this guide is made specifically for that purpose, to help you make as much gold as possible in the War Within. Whether you like to farm for your gold, if you're a solo farmer, a group farmer, or if you don't like farming at all and you want to craft, or if you even want to flip on the auction house, this gold making guide is made to be helpful for anyone, no matter how you like making your gold. Now I'm just gonna say, like, if you only want to make a couple 100,000 gold, you are probably better off buying a WoW token, but if you're looking to make over 1,000,000 gold, this guide will teach you how to get that gold faster and easier and get more bang for your buck. Basically, it's a difference between buying a fish or teaching a man how to fish, so the less gold you need and the less gold you want, the more worth it is for you to just buy WoW tokens, but the more gold you want to buy, the more this guide will be helpful to you. And by making enough gold in the game, you can, for example, buy the next expansion with gold instead of real life cash, so you can basically get the next expansion quote unquote for free, and you can also play the game for free like I currently do by paying for my monthly sub through WoW tokens and using my in-game gold and converting that to Battle.net currency. Basically, if you're looking to make gold in the War Within and you're not sure where to start, or you just want some tips and tricks, that guide is made specifically for that. It's over 100 pages of gold making information, and in addition to that, when the guide get updated, you get those updates sent to you for free. So it's a one-time purchase, and you will benefit from it throughout the entire expansion. In addition to that, when you buy the guide, you get access to a private gold making community where you get early access to videos. So for example, when I find really good gold farms and put those onto YouTube, you will have access to those farms before they go public. Same thing goes for investments, which is like investments, usually you buy them cheap and then they go up in price over time, and by having the guide you have access to those investments earlier, allowing you to buy them when they're cheaper. Same thing goes for crafting as well, and if I find something profitable, I usually make a video about it at some point, and by having the guide you get those profitable crafts earlier as well in the form of early access content. So you get more content, earlier access to content, and more tips and tricks to help you make gold, and the link to that guide is down below once again in the pinned comment, so feel free to go and check it out. Either way, let's have a chat about gold making and what's happening today. So today is the launch of patch 11.0.5, or the anniversary patch. Now that's going to be for North America. If you're playing in Europe, then the patch is happening tomorrow, so you have another day to kind of prepare for this. There's not really much prep to do, but you can prep a little bit. But in North America, this patch should be live right about now, so you can take advantage of this at the very moment. Either way, with this patch we now have access to something that I've been asking for since the launch of the expansion, and that is this right here, the usage of Warband Bank, or more specifically materials in the Warband Bank, to fulfill crafting orders. And the TLDR here is that reagents stored in the Warband Bank can now be used to fill all types of crafting orders. This counts for guild orders, so for example if you're crafting professional equipment for your guild, you can now use reagents in the Warband Bank for that. Personal crafting orders as well, you can use the items in the Warband Bank, and the huge part here is Patron crafting orders. Every single week I spend about 6 hours doing Patron crafting orders, and a lot of that time is simply sending materials back and forth between my characters, because at the moment, or like in the past, like last week for example, 1 week ago when we did crafting orders, the Patron orders for knowledge points, we had to have the materials in our bags when doing the craft. So if you have 70 characters like me, then you have to trade the materials back and forth 70 times. to do your crafting orders. Now you don't have to do that, and that by itself will save me about 3 or 4 hours every single week when doing my crafting orders. So the more characters you have and the bigger your alt army is, and the more patron orders you do, the more you will actually benefit from this change. And I'm just gonna say it's one of the best changes we have had throughout the entire launch. So we can read more about this. An incredible quality of life change for professions coming in patch 11.0.5. Players can now utilize reagents stored in the Warband bank to fulfill and set up crafting orders. So you can also use them to set up crafting orders if you're sending, for example, crafting orders for profession equipment like I do. You can use items in the Warband bank for that as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Now there's basically no need to ever take out items or materials from the Warband bank, which is great. The Warband bank has been a game changer for allowing your entire account access to reagents without needing to mail these crafting materials back and forth. Simply dump all your materials in the Warband bank after a gathering or crafting session and use them on any of your characters. That being said, if you store your crafting materials in the Warband bank, then you know how frustrating it can be to manually retrieve those reagents when trying to complete or set up crafting orders, and in patch 11.0.5 that manual shuffling of reagents is no more. And basically, imagine this. If when you're doing your concentration crafts in professions, imagine you had to have the materials on your character when crafting. If, for example, right now I'm about to spend concentration, imagine I had to keep these items in my bags when doing my concentration craft. That would simply add so much more time to my crafting sessions by having to trade materials back and forth. Now, with the addition of being able to use materials in the Warband bank when doing patron orders, we no longer have to trade items, which is really good and will speed up the process of doing these patron orders significantly. Even if you just have 10 alts, you will really feel the impact of this, and the more alts you have, the more you will feel this impact. So for me, for example, I do crafting orders every single week. I'm about to do some now as well. We have, for example, this one, which is free, so that's pretty good. But for a lot of them, you have to have materials on you, which you have to have in the bag to actually do them, and that's really annoying. It takes a lot of time just trading materials back and forth. Now, the good thing is, that's done now. We have the Warband bank that we can use reagents from the Warband bank when doing these patron orders, which is absolutely fantastic. And once again, if you have an alt army like I do, you will really feel the impact of this. Now, I did say I was going to give you guys a one tip or trick that will really help you out here as well, because now, by being able to use reagents from the Warband bank to do our patron orders, I think a lot more people will be doing patron orders. Because if you have an alt army, the bigger reason for not doing patron orders is the time it takes, and a lot of that time, like both the time it takes and the frustration of having to trade items back and forth. So you had a couple of barriers to entry here, or there was a couple of hurdles to jump over. You had the time commitment, and then it was the annoyance of just having to trade items back and forth. Now, with the changes of 11.0.5, more people will be doing these patron orders, and for myself, I will do probably more of them as well, because now I can just put all of the materials in the Warband bank and I don't have to trade them back and forth. So with that in place, I would recommend that if you haven't done this yet, it is something that some people have probably done since the launch, but some people probably haven't, and I've talked about this in the past, but not that much. Get yourself a resourcefulness tool. Start making more gold from doing these patron orders. Like, patron orders already gives you some gold by getting, for example, the unraveled instructions are selling for over 1000 gold each, and you get them quite often, and the crystallized augment rune sells for over 2000 gold each. But another avenue of making gold when it comes to orders is saving the reagents that you are spending. You can basically steal reagents from NPCs. And if you have, for example, an inscription, I think a lot of us are using multicraft, myself included. Multicraft does nothing for you when you're doing the crafting orders. If you proc when doing crafting orders, if you proc multicraft, that doesn't benefit you at all. You basically give more materials to the NPC, but if you proc Resourcefulness on an NPC crafting order, you get those materials. So once again, you're literally stealing materials from NPCs. And to talk about some of the gold you can actually make from this, I have 70 characters currently set up, and doing Patron orders on 70 characters, I save about 70,000 gold every single week simply by having a tool with Resourcefulness on it. So to be a little bit more specific on what you should do here is go to the auction house right now and search up your current profession and the tool to look for a cheap Resourcefulness tool. If you have Inscription, for example, go to Inscription, then go to Tools, then filter Current Expansion Only, then click Search, and look for the highest item level 1. So item level 564, for example, is 2,500 gold, and scroll down until you find one with Resourcefulness on it, and if it's cheap enough, buy that one, and get yourself a quality 2 Resourcefulness enchant. So we can just type in Resourceful here, and then we get quality 2 Resourcefulness enchant. I will say quality 3 is probably not worth it, like you get 24 additional Resourcefulness, but only for the crafting orders I would say that's not worth it, but a quality 2 one I would say is definitely worth it in this case. So get yourself a max rank tool, green tool, with quality 2 Resourcefulness enchant on it, and you will save a bunch of gold on these crafting orders. Now, sometimes it can be quite difficult to find a profession tool with Resourcefulness on it. It just depends on the server you play on and how many people have just bought out the entire auction house, so you might be better off making one yourself. The only thing is, when you're making equipment, you have RNG on what stats it will give, so you kind of want to use a missive of Resourcefulness when crafting, just to guarantee yourself that it has Resourcefulness on it. So that adds 550 gold in crafting cost to guarantee yourself Resourcefulness on that enchant. Now for me, I'm just gonna say every single crafting profession that I'm doing this on, it's worth it. Even tailoring has been worth it so far, and the biggest ones for me have been mining to save nullstones, and Inscription, because everything in Inscription is super expensive anyway, so those two are really good, and Alchemy. Alchemy is also really good. Enchanting is like pretty decent as well, but you're just saving dusts anyway, so Alchemy is huge, Inscription is huge, Engineering is quite huge, and Blacksmithing has been huge as well, saving expensive materials every single time. So yeah, get yourself a tool with Resourcefulness on it, and get a quality 2 enchant. If you can't find a tool, and you also don't have the right profession to make the tool, I would recommend, once again, we have the Warband banks now, so you can make a level 1 on, for example, Kazakh, Stormscale, or any high population server in your region, and then buy the tool on a different server, put it into the Warband bank, and then take it out. So you are not restricted to only buying these tools on your current server. You can expand your search to go to a full pop server and buy the tool over there instead. The same thing goes if these tools are really expensive on your server, they might be cheaper on a different server out there. Either way, that's kind of the video for today. Big news about the Warband bank change, and once again, definitely get yourself a tool with Resourcefulness on it to make more gold from crafting orders. Either way, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, and that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you again in the next video very soon.